you want lessons, or do you want to finish Veracini and we'll put lessons? I'll rejig.
I'm happy to finish Veracini.
Let's finish Veracini and then we'll be done on teaching points. So excited.
Woohoo! Okay, that's worth putting up a lesson.
Did we do both part doubles though?
Yes.
Yeah, we did it at the same time. When I put my running away, I'll definitely need it.
And that's really exciting. That's awesome.
Yeah, 9 weeks ahead. Well, no, not ahead of schedule, obviously, because. What?
Don't jinx it.
It's just too good. Right, please turn to page 28. I don't know why I'm doing a stupid voice.
Oh, you just writing that down.
Because we're all just buffering the whole day today.
Oh.
Yeah. Right, so add F natural on 2 before each box. Please write that above the first exercise.
Done it.
For the Veracini. Good, well done. Have you written them in?
Yes.
Great. So, violins then, please. This is because I do not teach this part in second position. If you're going to do that in second position, do not start on the 2 there. It's not obvious, but it will mean that you're in the wrong position for. It does. The reason I don't do it is I don't think it really helps to start in second position because you've still got to go upper semitone and you've just got a weird hand position. So I would rather that my students just practice that, not second position, and then still shifting and like move. But you can experiment. But just be aware, if you're going to teach it in second position first, you you need to play from the 1 on the F natural, not the 2 on page 28. Okay, so our exercises and how you're going to do it with the students, that's your first job, just to get that. How big is the shift? Be careful, not how big is the interval, how big is the shift? Quite big.
Yeah.
That's what all the teenagers say. Could you give me a little bit more detail? Well done, otherwise known as? No. A tone.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
Major second is a tone. Good. So they've got to practice that loads of times until they can do it really easy. 2, 1. The shift, not the interval. That's what I mean. This is a semitone, but the shift is your 1 going from there to there.
Yeah.
Yeah? So just like all of your shifts, for example, if you measure the interval, that's a major 6th, but the shift is a major 3rd. Because you've got a 4th in your hand. Yeah?
Yeah, that's it. Thinking about it that way makes it more alive.
Good.
Brilliant.
Good. Great. So then, yeah, so you come back to the 3 just to make sure they haven't picked it up. And you can start to put it on an up bow if you want the F natural, it doesn't really matter. Tone away, 2 in the gap. And then go back to the E flat. Yeah? Very nice, and then not very nice. And you can really hear the resultant tones on the top interval. Can you hear that? higher up. Can you sing the note you can hear? That's the A flat. Yeah, so that's the note that's not there in terms of the notes I'm actually playing.
Why does that happen?
Science.
Science.
It's factually correct.
But it's called
It's called a resultant tone.
Resultant tone.
Resultant. It's a result of the two science
I
coming
do hear
together.
that.
The two frequencies create an overtone basically, but it's not an overtone necessarily because it can also be lower.
Yeah, I hear that when I play harmony with kids sometimes. I'm like, okay, am I supposed to be hearing that? Am I tuning to that?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not a nice note.
Oh, I can't hear anything in that.
I can hear it's there.
Yeah, so a minor sixth will create a major sixth below, and a major sixth
Yeah.
the fifth below, the lower note.
Do you just learn that by heart, or is there a pattern to it?
I was just remembering, I mean not remembering, I was just hearing, like working it out.
Okay.
So, that's the note, can you hear that now?
I need it, yeah. Not consistent though.
But I can also hear the buzzing as well.
So the really annoying thing about resultant tones, a bit like harmonics, they're not in tune
Yeah. And so,
So-
you hear that.
because it's science. So some teachers will tell you, if you're doing like thirds, that you should tune the resultant tones to be in tune, but that will mean that the notes you're playing are not perfectly in tune.
Yeah.
So for example, I'm going to go up so it's easy to hear. Let's
It's
use them.
amazing, like having played the violin for 32 years and still learning.
It is amazing, isn't it? Well, me
Maybe
too.
school day.
Right, so according to my own ear and also the tuner, those two notes are in tune,
I heard that one.
but it's not in tune.
That's a little bit flat.
Oh.
So now it's in tune, but my G sharp.
Right.
So I personally don't tune to the resultant tones unless it's a really high and long. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a moment where I've had to tune to the resultant tones because I'd rather play the actual notes in tune. And also, given that we are three professional musicians and it takes us that long to like hone in on the sound and be like, oh yeah, I can hear it. An audience member 30 metres away is not going to be like, that resultant tone is out of tune. Whereas they might well hear that the notes are out of tune if you have, if you've changed the notes.
Agreed.
I guess it's good to know because if you've got a student that can hear that and it bugs them, because that's the sort of thing that would bug me and not know what it is and think it's me,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
it's good
they
to
do
know.
need to know. Okay, good. Back to Veracini. So definitely by this one, by the time you do this, sorry, I'm slurring it, you want to put the F natural on an up bow. think that's fine. I don't think we should be like rock solid on the waterfall at all times. There's got to be flexibility, and especially at such a short note. That's fine. So. Good, and then so
It shouldn't be a 2, it should be a 3, right?
yeah, so 3.
It's a 3, yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I put that in.
Sorry, I don't know. Weird. Good. Let's sit down. One tiny bit of shifting on each page. The end of 18, you're in third position. 1, 1, 2, 3. 2, 1, 2, 1.
Yeah.
3, 2, 3, 3. And then obviously you have to do it at 46, otherwise you don't have enough fingers.
It's only 2 places, right?
Yeah, and that chord is in second position.
And what about bar 7?
Oh, I don't do that. I just do a double string crossing, but it's up to you. I like the E string sound of the G. It's just a bit sort of duller. Stop bow on each quaver after a run of semiquavers. So you kind of want to give a little bit of a nudge to the slurred, like for example, bar 9. No, a nudge is the wrong word. A stop, so that it's neat. Not. There's the memory trap.
Would you just put a staccato dot on it to mark it?
Could do, yeah. Loads of lifted bow strokes, as we said before. German dance is a slower version. Oh, hell. If you just make it the same.
Can you draw a lift like a breath? Like a little comma?
We can do a little I'll do a little
A comma is actually a time marking. So if you have a comma, it would imply that the bar is longer than it would be without it.
Ah,
It's like a
okay.
tiny little pause. So,
Or like a tick?
Oh.
Like a...
I would just write lift.
Okay. What do you do, Joe?
I do a swoop with an arrow.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
So the swoop comes out from where I'm lifting
Like
from.
a tick, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's an arrow at the top.
yeah, that's good. So your tick boxes, have you got them in already? Or do you want me to list them?
No.
Okay.
I haven't got them.
Light bow strokes. Memory, chords, boxes, dance tempo, semiquaver runs, articulation, bowing, and dynamics. as we always say, what do we always say about boxes, Hannah?
Not all boxes for every child.
But wonderful. And some children also, Joe?
Could add some more if you need.
Yes, we'll need different ones. But for the sort of regular students, 7 times ish. Bar 6.
Oh,
Bar 9. That needs kind of careful teaching. And I haven't done it in this book, but I normally do in there, is just put a big slow across the top. Otherwise the bowing's not clear to them.
oh right, yeah.
So the up,
Up, down.
up,
Yeah. And then I would put 18 up until halfway through 19 in a box just for the shift. And that's slightly awkward. Up, down, there.
So say again. From
Up to there. And then do release the 2 as soon as they've got to the top of that 2 and 2 chord.
I was going to ask you
You
that.
don't.
I was struggling with that.
Yeah. So it's a 2 and 2 chord. Release 2 once 1 is on. And vibrate. Then you've got page 28 for the chord boxes, chord preparation. And then once it's a big box, do add the bar afterwards as well, because loads of them play the wrong notes. Da 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 da. The one's kind of tricky on that first one. Lots of them will not get the C natural quite low enough. And it's got that double string crossing. And the one has to go flat, possibly. Properly, not possibly. Definitely has to go flat on the B flat. And then, so that's a 10 box at least.
where does it start?
The beginning of that line, 22 with the upbeat. And that would only really be in a box once they've done countless numbers of the exercises over the page. Hopefully in preview, yeah? So you might want to go back to German dance and write start preview for Veracini, the same lesson that you start this piece, because basically most kids take a week or maybe 2 for German dance. So if you're thinking, oh, we'll start German dance and then we'll start preview for Veracini, you will have missed the boat.
Preview before German dance.
Yeah. Or at the same time. Alongside. You will know if they're listening to their piano, if they're listening to their recordings well, if you ever play it with the piano, because when they get to here,
It stops.
they're like,
Yeah.
why have you stopped? You go, that's interesting. Need to do a little bit more listening, don't you, if you don't expect me to stop playing there. And the recapitulation starts at the upbeat to 35. What is the form of this piece?
It's upbeat, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a gigue.
I don't think that's a form. That's just a dance.
Is it a rondo?
Yeah. So, well, no, not rondo, really sonata.
Yeah, A, B.
You've got the
And
exposition. We're going to be posh about it.
alright.
The exposition on page 1, pretty much like the first half. The development, the first half of the second half, and then the recapitulation from 35 to the end.
I would have said the development was there.
Yeah,
Right.
second half. The first half of the second half. Not of the page, of the piece. From the repeat on. More boxes. I just put that long box in as a 5 box. Obviously, if they're having trouble with the chromaticism at the beginning, separate it out. But it's mostly just to kind of get a sense of all of that together. And then the next bit, same. Also just 5 times. Last 2 boxes. Huh?
That's different.
Yes.
Ups and downs.
The challenge with this double stopping at the end is the 2, so you need to practice. It's like Peter and the Wolf. There's a bit in Peter and the Wolf that's like that. Anyway. Is it the oboe one? Dun, dun, dun. I don't know. Anyway, so practice it separate and then put these fingers down and just practice the 2, even though you can't hear it, and then is that one that's the real sticker. So there's actually only one place that's really hard for them to get it in tune, and that's that second F and D. The half bar of 56, no, 55. And then because at the end it just goes to an octave, much easier. So lots of bowing is in the lower half of this piece. But not exclusively.
Is it balance point start? Middle.
Middle start. You've done it.
That wasn't going to a sandwich party and just plain.
Sandwich party. I can't wait to hear all about this. Woo! Done.
That's it.
Yeah. Why are we here?
Is it really over?
No,
No,
we've
it's
got
not.
9 weeks left.
I don't write it all out first.
Yeah, you have. while we're here, I have a few thoughts about teacher training. One is that I firmly believe that it would be much better if levels 1 to 3 were sold to us as the course, and 4 and 5 is like doing an MA. I don't think it's helpful for most teachers to take level 4 or 5 unless they've got students at that level, because it becomes so academic and there's so much handle. And really, like we've talked about before, they can play everything, they can do everything by the end of book 5. You know, there's very little that they haven't actually learned to do. And so I feel that there should be a real shift in how teacher training is delivered for level 4 and 5, away from teaching points. Like, I have no interest in sitting and going through maybe book 6, but certainly by the time you get to book 7, if you can't work out what the teaching points are in the pieces, then I don't really think that you should be teaching at that level. I think it's completely fine to have really like step-by-step training for early levels, because that's what the students need, and that's great. But like, if you can't work out how to teach a piece in book 7, what are you going to do when they decide that they want to do grade 7 or grade 8? Like, no one's going to give you training on those pieces unless, I mean, you can obviously ask for it, but I really feel like what happens, and I've watched so many level 4 and 5 bits of teacher training, and what I see over and over again is that people's playing transforms, and they're teaching, it's like level 3+. And what I would like to do when I do eventually do levels 4 and 5 is to have a really different approach, like we're doing, well, certainly for level 5, things like arranging music, how to conduct, you know, how to use the music software that I use so that you can literally write out your parts and all of that kind of thing, how to run events, how to run, you know, stage management, all of those things that we kind of get tiny bits of in this level, and much less time on how each piece is kind of like put together, basically. And I think that therefore I don't think I will run a level 4. I'm not assuming that either of you are interested in it, but just in case you are, I think I would run a level 4 for people who could already play all of the pieces, and therefore will get the most out of what is a big investment in terms of time and energy. Because I think that what lots of people in my experience have got from level 4 is they're teaching, like I said, they're teaching a sort of in a similar state to what it was before, but their playing improves markedly, and frankly,
You can do that by
you
practice.
could just go and have lessons with someone. You know, if you like, there's going to be nothing spectacularly different from a non-Suzuki teacher as to how they teach you book 6, maybe a little bit less book 6, but certainly by the time you get to book 7 and 8, you know, a good teacher is a good teacher. If you want to take that level, I think the best thing you could do in preparation is to have violin lessons with someone, whether they're a Suzuki teacher trainer or not. Just have a lesson once a week. It's a lot less money than the course, it's a lot less time than the course, and then you can take the course thinking, right, well, I'm not going to be worried about whether I can play the pieces or not. We're just going to make some slight changes stylistically.
Be in addition to the course, really. So in terms of money, if you're paying for that and you're paying for your level 4 and 5, then it ends up being more.
It ends up being more over the time, because it will free you up to get more out of the course, and that's, I mean, you don't have to have lessons while you're doing it. Like, if you came saying, okay, I feel ready to do level 4, I've memorised book 6 and 7, great, like, I'm not going to say no because you haven't had lessons, but the thing is that I think what you end up paying for, if you don't know the music before you go, particularly for those levels, is you end up paying a lot of money for someone basically to force you to learn it, and you can learn it by yourself, which means therefore you can come and learn all of the other stuff, like really going deep, and also spend a lot more time on reviewing, like a bit like we have on level 3, because we've got the level 2s, like going back, how do you teach those early pieces, those early books, not just, you know, like the kind of conveyor belt of like, okay, now we're doing book 6, now we're doing book 7, then you take the exam and then it's done. Like, you know, there's so much else to becoming a really excellent teacher that most courses don't cover because there's not enough time because everyone's still learning the music. And you can do that by yourself, and if you can't do it by yourself, then you would pay twice, but you would also get twice as much for it because you know.
Even some of the early levels, it's like, I remember when I first started doing level 1 and into level 2 the first time, and I was saying, when are we going to do a lot of work on child development? Because never watching a couple of videos like that I am 3 and stuff, I was like, I'm surprised there isn't more on this, because if we're exposed to these very young children who've got some quite particular issues, how do we cope with that? Coming from a position of no knowledge, and also once they get a little bit older, if they start to present neurodivergence, it's like, okay, how am I? The answer I got was, that's not our job, and I'm like, yeah, but we have to deal with that. Whether it's our job or not, we should deal with that. And we should have an awareness of certain things if we spot them, and who to say something to and who not to. And luckily, I follow my instinct when it comes to that sort of thing, but it needs to be handled delicately, at least if the issue is discussed. But when you get to this level, and books 4, 5 and beyond, if they're still playing, which they probably will be, but if they're still playing, there's a different set of problems that get presented. And older students as well by this point, and how you deal with teenagers and how you deal with a diverse studios so that the teenagers can stay motivated and engaged.
Exactly. Yes, my dear.
And also whether we would incorporate learning elements of GCSE music, assuming that our students would want to do, or at least have an awareness of what is required in that.
Exactly. And just to finish up my plans for my teacher training, I'm not planning to do level 4 next year, or probably even the year after. Partly because once I've got both levels, I'm going to have to do 2 days a week. So, and I also would I also just always felt a bit sad for people who had only like one doing level 5 at a time. You know, on the teacher training course, often there's only one person doing level 5, and I just think, wouldn't it be nicer to wait so you've at least got someone, like, you know, one other person, I think is the minimum to have 2 people doing it.